podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Hello, dear listeners. A happy show for a change. Monday with Merv, and we're in an upbeat, positive vibes only kind of frame of mind. Welcome to the show, Merv Payne. How you doing, Merv?
Very good, thanks, Nick. After Saturday, yeah.
Yeah.
The difference between that and Wednesday was night and day, wasn't it?
Chalk cheese, light and day, black and white, whatever metaphor you want to choose, really, listeners. I've just been looking at the BBC website. The difference in comment. I mean, the post-match comment from Alex Neil on Wednesday was, like all of us, were conceding soft goals. He says we weren't clinical. He says, and then you can't say that on Saturday, Merv. It was a fantastic performance. I've called it the most complete performance of our season so far. I know there isn't much to choose from, but we were at it from kickoff, Merv.
Well, this is it, isn't it? I mean, we've spoke before about what a different side we are when we get the first goal.
Yeah.
And it had everything really that we've been lacking the last couple of games, and that sort of pace, attacking quickly, pace and quality in the last third, all those terms that people come out with. But I think that the big difference is down to, obviously it was a good team performance all round, but the difference with a fully fit Femi Aziz in the side is a beauty to behold, isn't it?
There's no substitute for quality. I mean, I was watching, obviously, I actually went down there with a bit of trepidation. We were just speaking off air, Merv, weren't we, about the kind of flatness of Wednesday night. I went down there Saturday, fearing a little bit what kind of scoreline we might walk away from. I thought another big loss, heavy loss, and you start to get the backbiting going online, and it gets, as others have said on this show later, that gets toxic, So I was sitting there quaking a little bit before the kickoff, but my fears were soon allayed. It was everything that wasn't there Wednesday. I'll come back to that because the contrast is quite astounding. But we had movement and power and pace on Saturday. 7 changes, which I must admit gave me the collywobbles a little bit, because I thought, well, this is the kind of thing that Ian Holloway used to do, didn't he?
Yeah.
Different starting 11 each game. But it worked out for Alex Neil Saturday.
Yeah, thankfully there is one major difference. I mean, I thought this exactly what I thought when I saw there were 7 changes. I thought, we want to see something different from Wednesday, but sometimes that making so many changes can be counterproductive. But I think we're lucky in the sense now, when we make these changes, we've got quality to bring in, haven't we? And
that was the main change, wasn't it?
That was proof of Aziz. And I know, Imaku has done really well this season, and he's got a lot of praise, rightly so, for his work ethic, and he's tireless and he really puts a shift in.
Yeah.
But I've said before that just the one thing that his game is lacking is what Femi Aziz brought, and that was that really good cross for the first goal, and absolutely stunning goal courtesy of Mitchell's brilliant ball for the second. And also, I'm puzzled as I still see a lot of negative comments about Billy Mitchell and Cooper, and it baffles me because no one's ever pretended that they are elite. The cream.
No, the very top table. No,
but they're good on. They're what I thought Millwall fans always wanted, and that was someone who gives everything, puts a shift in, and they've been great. And Mitchell proved that again on Saturday. He looks so good in that role.
The quality of his passing, Merv. I mean, he's been injured, obviously, so he came back midweek. I think he was there midweek. It didn't look. No one looked great Wednesday night.
Well, this is it. No, you can't judge one player on a whole. No, poor team.
But one thing I will say about Billy, and I've said it before, said it with you, I think, but he doesn't make many mistakes. He passes the ball, it goes to the blue shirt. Whatever shirt we're wearing, blue shirt Saturday. Yeah, that's a big attribute in this league, because both sides. We clicked on Saturday. We weren't clicking against Coventry, and our play looked ragged. Well, we didn't look ragged Saturday because the quality of the passing was accurate. And as you said, we've got quality players coming in Aziz primarily.
Something else we've always touched on is that obviously football it's quite simple, really. And I think the difference last Wednesday, I think we seemed to be making it look really complicated.
Yeah.
And Coventry had made it look very, very simple. And I think that a friend of mine made a good point, actually. He said in the sort of the cold light of day of the Coventry game, it wasn't really a 4-0 hiding in the true sense of the word, because we got done late on chasing the game a bit.
Chasing, yeah. I mean, the third and fourth goal were the kind of goals you let in when you're pushing men way far too forward, you know.
And then to put even more context, you look at Coventry's result on Saturday at Sheffield Wednesday. You are poor, but nevertheless, you know, to go away and win 5-0 there after winning 4-0 at our place. They put seven
plus 20 goal difference, Merv. Plus 20, 9 games in.
They put 7 past QPR, who obviously we play next away, and they're 2 places above us in 6th. So I think Coventry have got that. It's all going for them at the moment. I think every chance they're getting is going in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just felt what I liked about them, or what I was impressed with, that it was very simple and it was very quick, you know, from back to front. And they had a chance and they took it, and then that's what we luckily did on Saturday.
Yeah, I was really impressed. I mean, the obvious praise is going to go for the attacking play, and that's we'll come back to that in a moment. But I thought defensively we didn't give West Bromwich Albion a sniff, and this is not a bad side. I mean, this was a team that came in. I think they were 4th when they.
Yes, they were one of the early challenges with Middlesbrough and Stoke, to be fair.
And they were their pre-match record was 4 wins and just 2 losses with a couple of draws. So this was no slouch of a side. And in Ryan Mason, they got one of the young managers that, you know, everyone says one of the up-and-coming breed, and they've been playing some decent stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, this wasn't a bad side that we closed out completely, Merv. They didn't have... I can't remember any chances of note until... like us on Wednesday, the game they were chasing 2 or 3 goals behind.
Yeah, they certainly looked pretty toothless, and I saw a few West Brom fans complaining about it, and they were certainly well beaten, which is after Wednesday was quite a surprise.
So it was as much a defensive and pressing masterclass, really, because I think that's the key to it. We were pressing West Bromwich Albion high in their penalty area pretty much from kick-off, and where I sit, I was right above the focus of our pressing, and it was quite something to see. I mean, the energy and movement required to maintain that, Merv, is quite something. Not every player can do it well enough. I think we're starting to see players now that can and are, you know, born to do it. In likes of Luongo, Billy Mitchell, Ballo, I thought that played very well. Unsung players in a way, Ballo, isn't he?
This is it. I mean, the 3 goals came from 3 really great bits of build-up play. Obviously, the great cross from Aziz for the first, that brilliant ball from Mitchell for the second, and that lovely through ball from Ballo for
Sturge.
Which is reminiscent of the ball that Doughty put through to Langstaff at Norwich on the opening day, which was the last time we scored more than 1 goal in the league, I think, wasn't it?
Well, that was the nearest we came to a performance. That was more of a second half performance at Norwich. I think the first half.
Oh yeah, that was. We ground that out, didn't we? But it was
the first half we were a little bit at 6s and 7s, but then we turned it on.
The attack was good,
But whereas Saturday we were on it from the start and right from the finish, they didn't get a sniff.
Yeah.
Good cross from Aziz from the right for the third. I think Smallbone if he touched it, it was barely touched it. But it fell through to Cooper, who put it away quite well. Actually, it was quite a nice finish. Big man, you know. I saw I was just reading on Millwall Online before I came on to this call. He's actually Jake Cooper is 7th in the place of the table of all-time Millwall appearances. He's in the same table as the likes of Harry Cripps, Barry Kitchener, 7th behind, I think, Alan McCleary. I can't remember the other names. Rhino, you know, the greats of our club. He's in. He's top 7 in terms of appearances. And I think he can probably look to get close to Neil Harris's number of appearances by the end of this season if he stays fit, of course.
Yeah. Well, he does have a very good fitness record. Hopefully, we haven't jinxed him with that. But he does. He set quite something of a record a few years back, didn't he? Of consecutive appearances. I think.
He wasn't injured for ages. But I thought Saturday he looked quite an offensive weapon as well as the defensive side.
I mean,
made himself a nuisance.
This is it. I mean, like I say, I'm just quite puzzled when I see criticism of him and Mitchell, because I think if Billy Mitchell had been a summer signing, I think people would be raving about him after Saturday.
Yeah.
And similar for Cooper, I think if Cooper had been brought in a similar way that Crammer and Tanganga was, then I think people will be pretty pleased. But I think because they're part of the furniture, you tend to be a bit more
taken for granted.
Some fans tend to be a bit more hypercritical. They tend to be singled out as a scapegoat a bit more. But
I mean, there were people wanting Alex Neil sacked after midweek.
Crazy, isn't it?
I don't know what I'm sure if we signed Paolo Maldini in his pomp, then people would find fault with aspects of his game. They'd find something. Too long in the hairdressers or something. I don't know.
This is it now, isn't it? And I even saw some West Brom fans saying that Mason wasn't the answer.
Wasn't the man. No.
And I think I saw someone list their players from 1 to 11 and just slag them all off. And you've got this business with Big Ange at Forest as well. They want him out after 7 games and 6.
It's mad, isn't it?
The game's crazy. And I mean, as depressed as we were last Thursday, there was certainly no need to press the panic button because we knew there were some good players to come back, and hopefully the blessing of this latest bloody international break will be that we can perhaps see a few more come back as well.
Arrivederci, apparently, one of Rufus, one of our sons, and one of our contributors, John Rankin, apparently took a selfie with Alfie in the car park, and I think he's hopeful getting back on the grass, as they say, soon. So that will be a hopeful thing, and the 2 weeks off with the internationals.
So if we can get Doughty and Denori back in the frame, I think them, when you've got so much quality, if you can make sort of changes at different stages of the game, it enables Alex Neil to protect players a little bit as well from this this constant sort of cycle of injuries, and hopefully that's what he'll have in mind.
Squad rotation is key for them.
So just get the most out of them for 60 minutes or whatever, and then change it around, and you're not sort of as we have in years gone by when we've made subs to key players, we've taken good players off, and the players we've replaced them with aren't good enough, and then you lose the game, or you throw points away. So hopefully we've gone past that. But
the crucial first goal in the first half. We 1-0 up at half time. And looking good. Second half, we really turned it on. I mean, there's the wonder goal, and I don't think that's overcooking it because, it's like walking through the desert. There's a song about going through the desert on a horse with no name, listeners, isn't there? And it's a bit like coming across an oasis, which was the ball from Billy Mitch into the path of Femi, who took it on his chest and absolutely buried it, Merv. It was
one of them.
It was a wonderful goal.
Yeah, the minute you picked that ball up, you sensed that he was going to score, didn't you? Sometimes you get that moment in a match where he just looked so full of confidence.
Yeah.
And I think he's been threatening to do that. He's missed a few chances, but he's looked just such a good little player. And again, he just brings that all important pace.
He's backed himself there and buried it. I mean, on another day, maybe that starts rising and going over the bar, but it didn't sat there. It flew into the goalkeeper, was nowhere near it, and it was took the lid off the den.
And the Sturge finish as well. I was gobsmacked.
Sturge finish was. I mean, two goals that are contenders for goal of the season within minutes of each other. Beautiful ball down the left side then, as you said, Merv from Ballo, who a highly underrated player, into the path of Zach Sturge. I thought played really well defensively as well as going forwards, and he absolutely buried it from a very tight angle, Merv. That was no easy chance.
It wasn't at all. No, it was. He didn't look like the goal was on when he had the ball. So when you see the net ripple, it was brilliant. But everything just went, didn't it? Luckily everything just went our way. And I think we've got another game coming up now, another place where we haven't won for a little while.
Apparently we won there in 2022, apparently, but I don't know if I must admit that's gone out of my head, but apparently we won there in 22, but we don't often get much at QPR.
Don't, do we? No.
Put it that way. It'd be nice to go and come away with 3 points. We're sitting in 8th position after Saturday's 3-0 win, and QPR on 1 point ahead of us in that 6th spot. So that'd be the 10th game of the season. With a 2-week break to rest and recuperate, as they say. I wanted to mention Josh Coburn up front, Merv, because I think, again, we've mentioned players getting slated online. He's taken his fair share of stick, Josh Coburn. And, I don't know if it comes across on TV sometimes, but if you're there, you see the amount of work that boy gets through. He's maybe he's not the most natural finisher in the world, but he's often got 2 blokes clinging to him. I think I'd struggle to finish a chance with the amount of physical attention he gets.
I noticed it more at Sheffield United away, where he basically just keeps opposition defenders busy.
Yeah,
and, he's a handful. He keeps them occupied, and it frees up other players. Because they can't all be watching him. And if there's two on him, someone's going to be spare somewhere else.
Loose. Yeah, absolutely.
And
but
almost, they almost sort of they perhaps sacrifice him in a bit of a way to do the donkey work instead of perhaps getting goal scoring positions, and everyone else takes the glory. But I think a lot of people do miss that. I think that's lost on a lot of people when they just see the end product and they see him miss a chance, and you think, whatever. But if you watch him more throughout the game and you watch him in other positions, and he is a real graft. He does get through a hell of a lot of work that a lot of players in his position just wouldn't bother doing or wouldn't have the nous to do. So he's definitely doing a good job.
He's got better touch on the ball than I think he's often given credit for.
Yeah.
And as I've said already, it's often with two seasoned championship defenders crowding him, hassling him, gripping him. Referees seem to let a lot go with Josh.
Oh, yeah. Some of the stuff that I've seen the refs wave on against Coburn is
amazing.
Yeah,
but there we are. That's the way it is.
It is. Yeah.
3-0. It finished on Saturday. Wonderful relief. Sense of relief at the full-time whistle. It was completely escaped me. Then I was surrounded by US and Canadian tourist fans. Of course, it was NFL weekend, Merv.
Oh, yeah.
The American football at Tottenham, yes. Which explained why my mate from Minnesota, who was on the other live show, was next to me. So hence a sellout crowd, and that doesn't normally do us many favours, a sellout crowd. But
no,
it worked to our favour Saturday, Merv.
Yeah.
One thing struck me. I said it in the other show, but I'll say it again here. The tourists and all the rest of the people get a bit hoity-toity about it, but they spend fortunes in the club shop.
Yeah, that's what
the guy next to me
really.
bought himself a training top, one of the zip-up ones with the what's the name of the brand we have? I can't think of the kit manufacturer's emblem up its sleeves. Area,
yeah.
Area. So got that all over. He clearly liked it. Bit urban for me, listeners. But anyway, and then he had a hoodie with "No One Likes Us" written all over it. Again, same as. But I mean, he must have spent a good £100+ in that club shop. And the Canadian family in front of me here for the American football, I guess. But they were all decked out in scarves and hats and clobber. Again, it's easy to knock the modern game, but you can see why it's so attractive to get these tourists in, because they spend fortunes, absolute fortunes.
And we're in a good position, sort of geographically, really, aren't we? We're right smack bang in the middle of London, really.
Yeah.
Compared to a lot of them, compared to the Charltons and the Palaces, So well, I think I've not got a problem with capitalising on that and taking their money, definitely.
No. Well, certainly. He went. To laugh. He went downstairs half time, which he said was chaos. I said you should have asked me before you went down. I could have told you it'd be chaos down. But he came back with the saddest looking foam plate of chips I've ever seen in my life. I don't know what the quality of the cuisine down there was. I said it'll keep you alive if you're stuck on top of the mountain. It'll keep you alive. That's about as much as I could say for it, really. But anyway, they spent money in the ground, so fair play to him. So there we are, international break now, Merv, and we'll be back after the 2 weeks are up for Queen's Park Rangers. I've got to be honest, it really lifted my spirits Saturday. I felt quite miserable, irrationally so. I don't know about you, Merv, but I question myself sometimes. Why do I get so miserable when Millwall lose, and why am I so happy when they win? But that's the truth of it, mate. That's
it is. It's just natural. Yeah, you can't help it. You've got no control over it. Yeah, I tell myself I'm not going to take it to heart anymore. I'm not going to take it too seriously. But I was very low after last Wednesday.
I had the ump on Wednesday.
Yeah, there was just no positives to take out. That was the problem, and you couldn't see where we were going to go upwards from there against, like I said, a decent West Brom team.
Yeah.
So for them to do the most Millwall thing in the world and come back and thrash them 3-0 like that with that performance, it's just faith, doesn't it? It keeps your faith in.
How many years have we been going now? We're probably about 100 years between the pair of us, and we still haven't learned that that's what happens.
We're used to it, but we're not. But that's what keeps us going.
Merv, before I let you go, a lot of talk around, and I'm a lot of talk at the stadium, a lot of talk online about the position of Ray Spangura-Williams, not even in the squad on Saturday. I'm not sure what I make of it. I've got no inside track, but I can't see any logical football reason for him not to be on the bench at least.
No, I mean, I've not been on social media as much as normal for various reasons, but yeah, I've not seen any rumours about injury. I've not seen any news about injury.
No, I haven't.
Which
you normally do. You normally do.
Yeah, exactly. You see something. Usually, the club just put something out there just to stop the rumours. But it is a bit concerning because he's completely disappeared off the face of the earth, and you can understand him being. We discussed this before when how well he played coming on against Charlton.
Charlton made an impact,
and given the lack of quality creative players we've got due to injuries and one thing and another.
Yeah,
and how obviously Aziz has come straight into the team as soon as he's fit.
Yeah,
you have to obviously you can't help but think then what's actually going on behind the scenes. Is he a bit cheesed off? Is he as disillusioned as the fans are with his omission, or is there another
it's
reason?
Interesting, isn't it? I mean, I don't know him. I've never met him,
no.
So I don't know whether But a player of his evident quality must be asking for regular first team football. Whether that be as a starter, whether it be off the bench, I don't know. I mean, he made a big impact at Charlton, as you've said.
Yeah, that was the weird thing.
And if he's not going to get regular first team starts, then he's going to be upset with that. I think any of us would be. So it's quite hard it's quite hard. I mean, I've no knowledge, the same as you. I've not seen anything online.
It is unusual, isn't it, for the club to not at least.
Yeah.
When a player drops out of the squad like that, there's usually a little footnote saying Reece Williams suffered a knock in training or whatever. Or
stretched.
He's ill. He was taken ill yesterday. That sort of thing. Yeah. They do that just to put a block on the speculation. But as that wasn't forthcoming,
one of our most talented players as well. It's not like it's just a journeyman every squad player. I won't name names, but you know what I mean. He's a talent. He's shone in big moments, and it's very strange. So one to keep an eye on, listeners. Merv, that's brilliant, mate. Thank you for coming on the show. Monday with Merv, listeners. Stay tuned, dear listeners. We've got the voicemails after these messages. Thank you, Merv.
Once upon a mundane morning, Barb's day got busy without warning. A realtor in need of an open house sign. No, 50 of them, and designed before 9.
My head hurts.
Any mighty tools to help with this plight? Aha! Barb made her move. She opened Canva and got in the groove.
Bulk creating Canva sheets. Create 50 signs fit for suburban streets.
Done in a click, all complete.
Sweet!
Now, imagine what your dreams can become when you put imagination to work at canva.com.
Achtung Millwall is the #1 Millwall podcast, and we're proud to support the wonderful Lions Food Hub. In fact, all of our advertising profits are donated to them. Why not visit the link in our X account if you're able to make a donation? Or, if you prefer, why not pick up an Achtung Millwall t-shirt from the excellent No One Likes Us clothing site, noonelikesus.co.uk. At least £8 from every sale is donated to the Food Hub. Achtung Millwall, No One Likes Us clothing, and the Lions Food Hub, supporting families in the SE16 area.
All right, Nick, it's Lawrence Binney here calling in after Millwall 3, West Brom 0. I didn't actually make the game yesterday because I was feeling a little bit ill. So I watched it at home with my dad on one of those dodgy streams that kind of craps out every few minutes. And then in typical fashion, of course, because I didn't go, we win 3-0 in a thoroughly convincing display, I thought, albeit against the West Brom side that looked a little bit leggy and kind of out of sorts. I was slightly worried looking at the team sheet before the game. 7 changes seemed like a lot, and still no RBW. Not really sure what's happening there. But fair play to Neil. There looked like there was a lot of balance to that team yesterday. I think particularly, I don't think you can really fault Imarku for the performances he's put in, but Aziz at the moment is just a cut above anything we have out wide, isn't he? He's just such a productive player. Even when he can't get the cross in, he feel like he usually makes the right option with the pass. Like in the look of Ballo, who I think initially I had him pegged as like a wide forward, but he's been playing in sort of like kind of wide midfield kind of roles, supporting Sturge and other attackers, and he looks like a very clever, inventive player who maybe does a lot of the simple stuff really well. So yeah, it's good to have someone like that at our disposal. Sturge for me, possibly man of the match. Although it's hard to really look past Mitchell and Aziz, but I think on any other day I would have agreed with whoever makes the decisions for man of the match, the sponsors, I guess. Because I thought, yeah, Sturge he has that quality, doesn't he? He just looks like a modern fullback. Just very at home going forward and defending, great attitude, very disciplined player. Still a little bit rough around the edges defensively, I think, especially with kind of aerial attacks. But yeah, that finish as well was superb. That whole move was really encouraging, actually. It was one of the, I think Chaps pointed that out on his podcast. It was one of the only times this season when we've really cut side open. Yeah, I mean, what can you really say about that Aziz goal? Just superb. I think also I wanted to point out that Mitchell's work for it was absolutely brilliant. The highlights don't really show it, but the way that he turns with the ball and finds the pass in a space of about 1 or 2 seconds is sort of Premier League standard. He's really coming along under Alex Neil. Can't really complain. It's lovely to have a performance like that for an international break. And I think we're going to have to be at it against QPR because they're also in form. But yeah, good weekend. Good end to what was shaping up to be a very sorry week. Come on, you Lions. Cheers, Nick.
Thank you, Lawrence Binney. Ill on the best game of the season. How's your luck? We've all been there, Lawrence. Everyone listening to the show will have been there at some point. Were West Brom leggy, dear listeners? What did you think? I thought we just blew them away. From the very kickoff, I thought we were at it, and we never really let them get any rhythm going. I mean, for a team that came in well placed, 4th in the table, 4 wins, 2 losses, they showed nothing, and we didn't really allow them a sniff until the game was beyond them. You know, there were goals behind, 2 goals, 3 goals behind. So I actually believe that we blew them away rather than they were poor. That's just my biased take. The Reece Bangura Williams question is a very good one that you posed, Lawrence. I don't have an answer for it, dear listeners. For him not to be on the bench unless he's injured, and I don't believe he is. I've not seen anything or I've not read anything online that says Reece has taken a knock. Then maybe he's out of favour. Maybe Alex Neil doesn't rate him. I don't know. It is an open question, and I'm interested to know what you think, dear listeners, because I can't see any logical reason why you wouldn't want that particular option on your bench. It's like an artist having, I'm not going to have a certain colour in my palette. You know, you might not think it's appropriate for a starting position, but as a player to come in at some point, you don't know if you're going to be chasing a game. You don't know how good West Brom are going to be on the day. They might be, as their form would imply, on heat and fire. They might be coming at us. So I don't understand why you wouldn't want Reece as at least as an option off the bench. Whether Reece is unhappy with his position, whether he thinks he should be starting, and whether he's doing enough in training to justify that belief, I don't know. None of us know. But all we can say is that he wasn't on the bench on Saturday, which is an odd option. But anyway, there we go. I'm sure that's going to be explored, to the nth degree here and online across these voicemails that we've got quite a few to get through. I want to say a big thank you to Lawrence there, but we're going to move along now to Martin Colwell. Take it away, Martin.
Hi, Nick. It's Martin Colwell here. We all had a better day today, didn't we, at the Den? Much better performance against a team that seemed to suit us very well, I thought, because their main pace seemed to come from Jed Wallace, and he was up against Sturge, which I think if I was the West Brom manager, I would have swapped sides and put him up against Ryan Leonard. But there you go. We don't make the team. Yeah, they're tricky players, I thought, West Brom, but no one with any pace, and I didn't think they had anything up front. But much improved performance. Very pleased to see Femi Aziz back. Made the first goal and scored the second, obviously, with his wonderful dipping shot. And to see Massimo Luongo at the back, in the middle of midfield, who not only gives cover to the central defenders, but also is very good at fouling players and not getting booked. So his fouls are not dangerous, if you like. They're little pushes and shoves, but they break up the play. And he broke up the play well, and he managed to be able to give Billy Mitchell the licence to play. I thought Billy Mitchell was the man of the match, and I'm not his greatest fan, but excellent distribution and obviously, killer pass for Femi Aziz's second goal. But yeah, I think Zach Surge made a difference at left back because he's a better defender than Joe Bryan, I think, and also he can get forward a bit quicker, obviously, as he showed for the third goal that he took with aplomb. But yeah, much improved performance against the team that suited us. It shows what we can do when we have our better players playing. Still lack a bit from the forwards, but if we can, create chances, we will score goals. Thought the keeper had a better game. I thought his kick in the first half was troubled by the wind, I think. It was a bit dubious of the wind and it seemed to be holding up. But I think second half he was much better and probably stood out. And I think Ryan Leonard was able to cope with Mikey Johnson because although he was their trickiest player, he lacked pace. And so that's not what Ryan Leonard wants to go up against. But, Jake Cooper was getting forward as well for the goal. And I think the point that Alex Neil made in the week about he needs Tristan Crammer next to him to give him that pace, if you like, to help him out, bore fruit there because he looked much more solid today with Crammer coming in behind him and bailing him out when he needed to. I thought that Balu struggled a bit, and I was surprised he stayed on so long. I thought perhaps Adama Mako could have come on after 60, 65 minutes, so just to give us something different, because Femi Aziz was always going to go off. But yeah, much improved performance. I thought that Coburn is beginning to put himself about a bit more, a bit more physicality with the forwards, because they had big, strong centre-halves, West Brom, who lack pace, a bit, like Millwall do sometimes. But, he was able to battle with them today, and I think he had a much better game. Didn't seem fully fit. Lasted longer than I thought he would on the pitch. But yeah, much improved performance. With the international break coming, I think we can get players back. I think we need to get Casper De Noor in the team so that we can perhaps rotate him and Billy Mitchell and Massimo Luongo together and give us that solid three in the middle. And I also would like to see Casper De Noor getting forward more of a box-to-box player, because I think he's the one with the energy and the ability to finish over the other two that would give us an added dimension to help us score goals, because, as we all know, we struggle to score goals. Still missing that extra forward who can come on, but, that's the way we are until January, I guess. But, yeah, I thought that the Serb came on and he won a few headers against their defenders, which was new. Didn't actually go anywhere, but he was actually winning the headers. So, much improved display, right opponents for us, gives us a bit of a step forward for a tough game we've got after initial breaks, because QPR, we were going really well, but give us a bit of hope that we can push into that top 10, top 8 in a division that, apart from Coventry, who are tearing it up now, looks wide open, really, to me. I think it's a weak division this year compared to previous years. And you don't know whether the commentary bubble will burst when they get injuries, do you? But there you go. Thanks very much, Nick. And come on, you Lions.
Thank you, Martin. Yeah, Coventry scored 5 at the weekend. 27 goals, I think they scored. They've got a goal difference of plus 20 already. So, yeah, how long can that last? I don't know. Thankfully, we don't have to play them at the Den again until, I think it's next year, isn't it? We go there. Jed Wallace, old Father Time, is a cruel master, as we've said a few times with our own Ryan Leonard's. Father Time is creeping up on Jed. I didn't think the hostility towards him was becoming more like a routine that some people go for. I don't think there was anything on the same scale as it has been the first time he came back. He wasn't effective at all, and for that reason, I think it becomes very much one for the die-hard haters out there. There are some. Jason Malumbi was anonymous, and Callum Stiles, I thought, was excellent when he was with us. Didn't really show much at all. So those were the Panto figures dealt with. Bender in goal. Martin mentioned Stephen Bender in goal. Not really troubled, Martin, was he? I think there will always be conversations to be had about Stephen Bender. I was talking to my American mate who was alongside me in the den. He's asking about Bender. Is he a weak link? I wouldn't go so far as to describe him as a weak link, because a weak link wouldn't make the top draw saves that we've seen Bender do. I think it comes to decision making for crossing and distribution. Clearly, Alex Neil likes him, and maybe he sees stuff that we can't appreciate, we mere mortals. Maybe there's aspects to his game in training that Alex Neil likes, and maybe Crocombe doesn't produce it in the same way. I don't know. Glad that you mentioned Josh Coburn up front and Massimo Luongo as well. Two players that's dead easy to pass over on a glory day like Saturday. But Coburn up front was doing the work of two men. He had defenders, physically manhandling him all the way. The referees just let it go. So fair play to Josh Coburn. I think his touch is developing, and I think, as Martin just mentioned there, his physical strength is maturing. He's getting stronger. As he's going to get older, he will do, won't he? Clearly, they've been working with him in the gym to give him a bit more strength up front, because he's going up against seasoned defenders, blokes that know what they're doing. So, good to see him developing. And Massimo Luongo, no substitute for experience, as others have said online. And I do love his little Dennis Wisian ability to go into the grey zone. I keep hearing about grey zones in Europe these days with these drones. That's a grey zone hybrid kind of way of playing the game that Luongo goes into there. And Wise was the most artful exponent of that. And I think Massimo has studied at the school of Dennis Wisian football. So yeah, and the wind. Martin mentioned the wind. I don't think anyone's really mentioned that so far. It was swirling around the Den on Saturday, dear listeners. So yeah, it wasn't easy for Bender to get a decent kick on. Next up on our list of voicemails is Rob Abbott. Take it away, Rob.
Rob Abbott. I'll keep this nice and short. Wow, what a performance! What a bounce back! All of them are absolutely superb. Femi Aziz makes such a difference. And look, Amaku, I think, has been very lively and threatened a lot this year and done well for us. But his stats, he scored 1 goal for us, and I think 5 or 6 assists in 60-odd games, where you get Aziz back today, has already 1 assist and 1 goal, and his stats are a lot better. He's a superb footballer. But every single one of them today are absolutely brilliant. Fair play to Alex Neil as well, making 7 changes, slightly adjusting our style as well. So we didn't have Ryan Leonard at right back playing as a right winger. We didn't have one of our centre mids going into the right pocket to cover to try and attack on that side. Ryan Leonard played a lot deeper, with Zach Sturge playing a lot higher, and then Ballo more infield. And look, it worked a treat. So onwards and upwards. After 9 games, we're at the international break. We're in a good position. Long way to go, but we've got players back. I think Denor and Doherty are probably the big outfielders missing at the moment. So let's hope we can keep them all fit and keep on progressing. But superb. Have a great week off next week, and I'll hopefully see you at QPR. And lastly, it's 6:15 on Saturday night. Not heard anything about Bangura Williams, but look, can't fault Alex Neil or anything today. But let's hope he has a little knock and wasn't up for selection today. So they'll be disappointed if he's been dropped from the whole squad. But look, we've got some depth there on the bench, so we're gonna trust Neil and we move forward. But I hope for the young kid who's a superb talent. Is back in for the QPR game, at least on the bench.
Cheers, Rob. Yeah, we've touched on the RBW, Raïs Bangura Williams situation already on this show. I mean, I don't know. I think like everyone around the Millwall scene, unless you're on the inside of the training grounds, you don't know if there's anything behind this. I am surprised that Alex Neil wouldn't want him as an option, even if he doesn't necessarily see him as a starter in the fully fit company that we've got in the squad at the moment. It may be that he's not seen as at the level of, say, Femi Aziz, who showed it was a masterclass on Saturday from Femi, and how relieved. I'm a huge fan of the boy. Met him, as I've said a few times. At the media day, very impressive young man, and maybe Race isn't at that level in Alex Neil's eyes. He's been around the track enough times. And the thing is with Alex Neil, despite the silly calls in the week after the Coventry debacle for Alex Neil to be moved on, Alex Neil's a proven championship manager, dear listeners. He's won promotions with teams. He knows his way around this division. He knows what you need in a squad to get yourself in with a shout of the playoff or who knows what else. So, we don't know enough about the Race situation to really sit in judgment on it. I do agree with you, Rob. It's a shame. I love Race. One of the most talented boys I think I've seen in a long time. Whether he fits into the work ethic side of what Millwall are trying to achieve, I don't know. All you're doing is floundering for reasons and excuses. So anyway, the other name you mentioned there was the potential return of Alfie Doughty. I think it was Rufus Rankin, son of John, saw Alfie Doughty in the car park, and I think he's hoping to be back on the grass, as they say, fairly soon. So he will be a major asset to come back. He's hopefully fit, hopefully firing on all cylinders, because I'm still fixated on that ball he played into the path of Macaulay Langstaff at Norwich, dear listeners. So fingers crossed for the return of Alfie Doughty. I'm going to take a very short break, and then we'll be back after that with Hassan.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Healthcare professionals can lead their careers with LinkedIn. Discover jobs by specialty, preferred shifts, and even desired salary. From mental health therapists to radiology technicians, it's now faster and easier for healthcare professionals to find the right fit. Learn more at linkedin.com/healthcare. Side effects may include faster job placement, improved work-life balance, and increased career satisfaction.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana lets you buy your next car on your terms. Explore a massive inventory online, filter for what matters, and find your perfect match. Then choose delivery to your home or pick it up at one of Carvana's iconic car vending machines. Every car also comes with a 7-day money-back guarantee, so you can make sure it's the right fit. Buy your car on Carvana. Delivery or pickup fees may apply. Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Carvana. Achtung, Millwall.
All right, Nick, Hassan here. That's much more like it, isn't it? After the disaster the other night against Coventry, we were anticipating and expecting a response from that. And a lot of fans, including myself, questioned whether this team has got any backbone, have got any bollocks about it, to stand up and be counted. And move forward from that result and get a result against a decent West Brom side. It has to be said. I think they were top of the away home. No, sorry, they were one of the best away teams in the league. I think they were at the top. I'm pretty sure that they got most of their points on the road, a bit like us in some ways. So you've got the team who's not very good at home against a team who are very good away. And thankfully, the boys dug deep and they played really well today. They nullified West Brom to absolutely nothing. I don't think they had a shot on target. I've seen some of the stats at the end of the game. I think it's 0 shots on target. So they've done really well to reduce them and to score 3 goals at home. How great is that? Clean sheet, it's fantastic. It's been a while coming that we've given the team a bit of a hiding. And today it just felt like everything clicked. I think the best way of putting it, everything clicked. The passion was there. The connection was there with the players. They all seemed to know what they were doing, coinciding with some very key players come back into the side. Likes of Luongo, I mean, he was a game changer. He was a difference maker, I believe. And I think he's a difference maker as to why we lost 4-0 the other night. He just put me in the middle of that park, and he just, he closes down so well. He cuts out those through balls, and he protects the defence so much, and he really frustrated West Brom today. He done really, really well. Billy Mitchell, potentially man of the match. I'm watching the goals back. Our second goal, as good as it was from Aziz, it starts from Billy winning the ball alongside Luongo in the middle of the park, and he plays that first time ball, no sideways passing, lovely through ball over the top, and Aziz, confident as ever, flicks it onto his left foot, and you can see first he looks up and he thought, "Fuck it," bang. Puts his foot through it straight into the top corner. No fucking about it. We need a bit more of that, a bit more direct, a bit more take a chance, instead of pissing around with the ball too much. Gets it out of his feet, bang, top corner. And to be fair, he's got that in his locker as well. And I want to talk about Aziz as well. It was a welcome sight seeing him back in the team. We really needed his creativity, his trickery. He was a little bit quiet, or he was a bit jittery in the first half. I thought the first half an hour, give the ball away a couple of times, but he slowly started growing into it. And let's just hope from here on in that we keep him fit, because he'll be a very key player going forward. And at the right time, I think it's international break now, so he's still got time to build a bit more fitness up and get ready for the next game after the break. I thought across the pitch, I thought everyone had a good game. Sturge, fantastic to see him to get his first goal, and that goal he started himself. He won the ball, played a quick 1-2 with Ballo. The through ball from Ballo, the weighted pass, is very akin to Dougherty's pass to Langstaff against Norwich, first game of the season. Fantastic through ball. West Brom defence was a little bit jittery. It was a bit where the centre-back's looking at the goalkeeper, thought he was going to come. Didn't matter to Sturge. He just put his head down, kept running forward. Lovely left-footed strike across the keeper into the far corner. And he's off the mark for the season and for his career. So hats off to him. Defence was fantastic. Good to see Cooper get a goal. Lenny, there's still life in the old dog yet. I thought he had a good game. We've given him a little stick recently, questioning his age. Is he past it? But today he rolled back the years, and I thought he did quite well. I think it helps that he wasn't up against like a real tricky winger today, and he didn't contribute forward as much. I think Alex Neil made light of that in his interview. He did say that we played Sturge so we can get forward down the left, as opposed to pushing Lenny forward, which I thought was a good tactic. It didn't mean he tired so much. I thought he'd done really well, Lenny. Smallbone played well in that 10. He just brings a nice bit of assurance and calmness in that centre. He's got that bit of creativity and flair as well at times. So I thought he had a good game. I think he's still building his fitness as well. Ballo was good. I thought he played quite well. Again, the through ball to Sturge is another assist to his name. So good for him. I think he's starting to find his feet now. Coburn was immense. Coburn, I say Coburn. I hope Mihailo watched Coburn's performance up until he replaced him, because that's what a lone striker needs to do. you work your fucking bollocks off, yeah? You chase lost causes, you make yourself busy. Against Coventry the other night, non-existent was Mihailo. Whereas Coburn today, even though he didn't get the score sheet, he was busy, he put himself around, he brought others into play, and you can't, anyone knocking Coburn, even after today's game, need to take a look at themselves. I thought he'd done well. End of the day, if you're not going to score, you help with the rest of the team, and he has done that. It's a shame he didn't score, mind you, but he's got one goal already. I'm sure he'll get more. So yeah, overall, a really good day. Really pleased we put that poor performance behind us now, and are we now starting to see what this team is capable of doing? I think a lot of fans have the feeling that this team can do good things. We've got a lot of quality in this team. Even coming off the bench, Negley. I love Negley. I think he's still a good player. I think a lot of people get frustrated with him because he doesn't just play the easy ball. He wants to control it. He wants to run with it. I know today he did give the ball away while he was trying to defend, but there was times where he would get the ball and it was obvious for him just to knock it down the wing into the corner flag. He doesn't. He runs with the ball. He's happy to run along the centre of the park and get the ball further out. So to have people like that coming off the bench, again, is a test of the strength in depth. Imaku coming on as well. So, and we still got Dinor to come back, Dougherty to come back. RBW was on the bench today. And it's a good job we won, because I think a lot of people will be very upset about that. There's a lot of questions asked why RBW isn't starting, not even on the bench. And I actually hope he's injured. If he's not in the bench because he doesn't fit into the squad, I think that's very disappointing. But anyway, that's for another day. Today's a good day. Nice 3 points at home, 3-0 win. All our rivals pretty much lost in terms of the Anoraks, and West Ham lost as well. So good day. Let's enjoy ourselves. On to another break, and I believe it's QPR after the international break. All the best, Nick. Sorry, mate.
Well said, Hassan. Yeah, Coburn up front. I'm glad that you mentioned it. I've touched on it a few times in these shows, but I do think we really saw an improved Josh Coburn on Saturday, and I think, as Hassan has rightly said, it's a marker for Mihailo to see what's needed. You've got to do the work. Mihailo, I think, is actually probably the more talented striker potentially. But if you don't apply your talent with hard work, with the sweat, I'm sounding like the old professor at the start of Fame back in the 80s. You got to bring the effort. You talent alone is beautiful, but it's not enough on itself, especially at this level of football. And if you aspire to go any further in the game, as Mihailo clearly nurtures ambitions to maybe go to Italy. I don't know any of the other leagues around Europe, but you're not going to get very far if you just think that you're some beautiful kind of object that's whose talent does the talking. You got to bring the work, Mihailo, and that was a good example on Saturday. Josh Coburn had men clinging to him, like he always does, and he's gradually, I think, building the strength to accommodate what the reality of his role. He might not get the goals because of the amount of attention he's receiving. But my word, as old Ray Wilkins used to say, my word, he enables other players to come in, and Hassan has touched on a few of them. Femi, Zach Sturge. I also mentioned Turno Ballo. I really like Turno Ballo is a bit like Massimo Luongo, an easy player to slightly go under the radar. He doesn't stand out as the star of the side, but he does do the work, and the ball forwards, as Hassan has mentioned to Zach Sturge. But that fantastic third goal, that was a beautiful finish, blasted in from a relatively tight angle, and he's put power into it, and it's caught into the top right hand corner. Wonderful thing of beauty, absolute thing of beauty. I know we're all talking about Femi's goal, rightly so, because that equally was a work of art. But that move for the Sturge goal was my favourite. Listeners, are my favourite. But there we are. Big thank you, Hassan. We're going to run a couple together now. We're going to have Jim Hackett, followed by Mark Willoughby.
Morning, Nick. Jim Hackett here. Just chat about yesterday's game. Very strange, really, when you think of how poor we were on Wednesday, and then go to that yesterday. If I wasn't a Millwall supporter, I think there was some sort of conspiracy in there that Alex Neil put out a weak side on Wednesday, knowing we were going to get beat anyway, and saved the big players for the Saturday. But that's a little bit too complicated for real life, isn't it? So the team he put out, I have to say, when I saw it on paper, I thought it actually looked quite decent. Luanga coming back in, Smallbone being in there with Billy, and the back four looking nice and strong, really, with Sturge and Leonard on either side. I think you know what you're going to get with both of them. They're quite strong as players, and the other side of the game isn't as important as defending. So yeah, I was quite happy. My only sort of question mark yesterday really was about Bender, how he stayed in the team after what he'd done on Wednesday, and I'll sort of talk about that in a minute. But overall, going forward, then we had Coburn up front, which I thought was a much better shout than Ivanovic, because at least with Coburn you know what you're getting, and so it proved yesterday. I thought from the off we just looked. I know the conditions were a little bit windy, but we did look calm. We looked comfortable, and I've got to say about Billy and Luongo in the centre of the park, they were like whirling dervishes. They were everywhere, and wherever the ball seemed to be, Billy was either collecting it or moving it forward, and he might have misplaced one or two passes, as he's quite entitled to do when he gets so much of the ball. But I thought his contribution to the game was fantastic yesterday, and it's like he came back as a Casper de Noor Mark II, because he seems to have picked up what Casper can do, and Billy was doing it yesterday. So very impressed with him from the start, really. And I think with Luongo, we've got a sign in there that none of us saw coming. Nobody appreciates what a good player he is, and I think maybe we look back to Wednesday and realise that without him in there, we do suffer. But anyway, back to the game. I think we looked comfortable, but we didn't actually look threatening, and then all of a sudden, Jake put the ball in the net after. Again, it was a recycling of a free kick, really, but just that ability of Femi Aziz to just click the ball in there. And obviously Smallbone did his part by missing the ball, and then Jake stuck it in the net. And then after that, I thought we just looked comfortable all the time. We gave some stupid free kicks away that allowed them to get the ball in the box, but ultimately we saw the half out. And I've got to say, every time I watch Bender, if there's a cross coming in, a free kick or corner, whatever, he just doesn't have a clue as to what to do with it, and it's a worry. I think he caught one that was quick and sort of a lovely height for him, but the rest of the time, if the ball stays in the air at all, he doesn't have the thought process of coming, collecting it, and setting us on our way. So he is my worry anyway. But then we go into the second half, and just having two wide players, Ballo and Femi yesterday, how fantastic that they both look lively. They both look like they can do some damage, and at different points they both did. I mean, the goal that Aziz scored, absolutely fantastic goal, and made by Billy with his sort of willingness to win the ball, collect the ball, and then a forward pass that everybody's used to scream that he couldn't do. Played a great forward pass. Femi took it well and then smashed it into the net. And it wasn't just a strike at goal. It was actually he knew what he was doing. He curled it in. It was lovely. And then we go to the third goal, and a lovely ball from Ballo into Sturge, and what a fantastic finish that was. And again, 3-0. Who would have seen that coming after Wednesday? And who would have seen that coming at any point this season? But I think Alex Neil's tinkering with the team doesn't help the team, because it's like he's too clever for his own good sometimes. I think Wednesday was a prime example of that. He put out a team that was so strange looking that it didn't do the job. And then yesterday he put out a team that actually looked like it could compete, and it did compete and won the game. So hopefully they'll pick up something from this, because I don't think the options we got to come back in, we got Doughty to come back in, I think we've got Casper to come back in. I can't think of too many others apart from the goalkeeper. And I think it's the goalkeeper is my biggest worry at the moment. But, we now get the international break, get time to reflect, hopefully get players back. And then we get QPR, which, again, just sparks everything up. And watching that yesterday, very, very interesting, wasn't it, after Wednesday to yesterday? And then, how can we be chalk and cheese so often? But we always are, because we're Millwall. Anyway, have a great international break, everyone, and come on, you Lions.
Hello, Nick. Mark Willoughby. Much better mood that I'm in to the other night when I called you. after we lost 4-0. When I called you then, I said 3 times it was all about taking chances, taking chances, taking chances. Well, today we took our chances, and took our chances. And it's so nice to be able to say that. We were clinical for the first time this season. A comfortable 3-0 win. We dominated from start to finish. It's not easy to do that against any opponent in this division, but we did it. It always looks like when that happens that they weren't at the races or were under par or whatever. Let's just put it down to the fact that we were great. We did really well. And, I'm so pleased that we played that positive stuff. And the last 2 goals in particular, Aziz and Sturge, Aziz has controlled that ball and then just launched it. And then Sturge, he's come down the left-hand side and he could have squared it. We would have seen that happen, in other games. He's sort of squared it to no one or cut back on himself. He just went for it and scored. Just so good to see. And this is what Coventry did to us on Wednesday. And I wonder if Alex Neil just said, what they did, do that. And they did. So great to see. Everyone played well. Not going to mention anyone particularly because they all played well. It was a great team performance and just nice that we're going into the international break on a positive, because if we'd lost again today, it would have been toxic and it would have been hard for these next couple of weeks. So well done to the boys for giving us that positivity to go into the international break with. I'm going on one of those Isle of Dogs tours next week. I think you did the last one, so I'm looking forward to that. And then I've got my ticket for QPR, which I got on a reserve basis because they had sold out and I was 4th in the line. But funnily enough, a day after the Coventry debacle, I got a call from Millwall saying, the ticket's come up, it's been returned. You can have it if you want. So there you go, I'm going. So looking forward to that. So we can go into the break a bit comfortable and feeling good about life. So all good. Well done to the boys today. And let's hope that we can push on after the international break. Come on, you Lions.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jim Hackett. Thank you, Mark Willoughby, for those 2 excellent notes. Yeah, I mean, poor to brilliant, as Jim says. Football, eh? I can't account for it myself, Jim. Certainly standing in an empty den on Wednesday night at the full-time whistle, sticking it out to the grim and bitter end. It was very hard to see a 3-0 win looming on the horizon just a few days later. But there we are. The stars aligned, the players aligned, Alex Neil's tactics aligned, and we got a sense of what a good team, once we're all fit, once we're all healthy, this Mill side can be. Fingers crossed that can continue, because I think we saw a lot of potential in this side on Saturday. Sideways Billy, I just want to mention that stupid nickname that people seem to love to attach to him. There's no Sideways Billy Saturday, kids. Look at the ball forwards. And that wasn't the only ball he played, incidentally, dear listeners. I thought it was a really magnificent performance from Billy. He was a lovely, lovely bloke. And I'm a fan of Billy Mitchell's. He doesn't give the ball away very often. And when he passes, it invariably goes to a blue shirt, especially if we're wearing blue shirts. Great team performance, says Mark Willoughby. You're right. Mood. I was miserable on Wednesday night, Mark. And I was joyful Saturday night, and I think I said to Graham yesterday on the post-match conversation that we had, it's stupid for a man of 60-something years to be so governed by the doings of a football team that your mood can be physically lowered or raised according to the outcome of an event that you have no control over. But anyway, is that not the irrationality of following football, football generally? Incidentally, you mentioned you're doing the Isle of Dogs walk. Great move. It's a really interesting walk. I don't know if there's any places left on next week's walk. Rob and Mike George do them on the international break. So next Saturday, I think, is the next one. Check out the Rob's X feed listeners, if you're interested, they start off at the CAF at Canary Wharf, near to the Dockland Museum around there, and it covers the Isle of Dogs from Canary Wharf at the top all the way down to the site of the old ground at the Lord Nelson. At Cabby Walks, CABBIE WALKS at Cabby Walks. Rob Woodford, he's the man to check and have any links to book a ticket if there's any still going. They tend to sell out very quickly. So well done, and I hope you enjoy yourself, Mark. Well done for that, mate. Great team performance. I'm going to take a very short break, and then we will be back afterwards with the aforesaid Rob Woodford.
Achtung, Millwall.
Welcome back, the listeners. Just before we play Rob's message, he has sent me a self-correction. I think he says something to the effect that we hadn't won at QPR since 1989. And as Rob has told me, he is way wrong. It wasn't 1989. It was, of course, 2022, which he's forgotten. A 2-1 win with Duncan Watmore and Ollie Burke. Remember him? He's ripping up the Bundesliga with Union Berlin. Ollie Burke. It was a 2-1 win in 2022. So forgive Rob that. He says I'm exposed to ridicule, especially as you're doing the walk next week, Rob. But there we go, mate. So we're going to play Rob Woodford, followed up by Mike George and Aussie Dave.
Well, Nick, what a reaction after the Coventry chaos. Chalk and cheese. 100% better. A comprehensive victory. We were the better team in all areas of the pitch. More energy, higher press. We were sharper, winning the second ball, better decision-making, more accurate passing, and what we've been crying out for, some quality in the final third with 2 absolutely superb goals. Everyone put in a shift for the badge today, and there were so many contenders for man of the match that Billy Mitchell just gets my vote. But a big shout out for Tierno Ballo, who is already getting used to the demands of the championship, including the ugly defensive duties, because he never stops running. And I think the recruitment team have played a blinder getting this lad on loan. The international break is another chance to get people further back to full fitness. And it's the QPR Jinx Bastards up next. And we all know we haven't won there since 1989.
2022.
But we've broken one hoodoo at Norwich this season. So why stop there? Come on, you Lions. By the way, it was good to catch up with a fellow dear listener before the game. You talk a good game, Matt Richards. And as for you, Nick Hart, you're a smooth operator.
The difference between Wednesday evening's debacle and this totally sublime performance represents a chasm equivalent to the dimensions of the Grand Canyon. From the get-go, Millwall totally dominated. We closed, bossed, midfield Lugano, providing the experience and know-how to disrupt almost everything the visitors tried. Alongside was Billy Mitchell, reigning supreme as midfield distributor, midfield general in what has to be one of his best ever performances. Up front, Josh Coburn was a constant threat, assaulted as usual by his marking defender, whom he turned time and time again, being unceremoniously upended on one occasion. But Josh played some wonderful little flicks to supporting players, Ballo and Zach Sturge, the latter charged with marking their best player, Jed Wallace, more often than not coming out on top of the duel. On the other flank, Ryan Leonard in a throwback performance that belied his veteran status. No mistakes from Crammer tonight, but a display of how to defend alongside Big Jake Cooper, who put the Lions in front, sending 3/4 of the pack then into joyous celebration. Then came the second half and 2 of the most memorable goals any of us will ever see. Ballo played a sublime ball into the channel which Zach Sturge, with afterburners on, latched onto before smashing the ball into the net. The second came from substitute Femi Aziz, who broke down the right, took one look and sent his shot over the keeper and into the net to put the game beyond West Brom. If Alex Neil had asked for a reaction as the fans had to the Coventry game, then he got that in spades and more. A wonderful move forwards, onwards and upwards.
Nick, Aussie Dave here, after that great game against WBA. Oh, the ups and downs of supporting Millwall, or in our case, the downs, then the ups. Can I start off by giving myself a pat on the back? If you remember the voicemails after the Coventry game, I think it was the only one of the many callers who was quite positive after the game. I said we thought we played well, and I'd said we'd beat WBA. What a clever little sausage I am. On to this game. Just want to pick on three things. First one is team selection. Clearly, Alex Neil's main criteria was experience. He brought back Lenny, he brought Luongo, brought back Smallbone, because we do have a young side anyway. But it's interesting, the experience, I think, was the key characteristic of the team that was put out there. The second thing I want to pick on is our playing style. I think this is a follow-on and improvement from Coventry. We're doing much better build-up play. There's linkages all around now, and particularly with Billy Mitchell, who I'll come on to in a minute. And finally, just want to talk about some individual players. The first one, Aziz. He is our most important player. He creates and he scores, and he seems to have a good vibe for the rest of the team. Let's hope he doesn't get injured too much this season. Second player is Billy Mitchell. For me, man of the match this game and the Coventry game. And he's really stepped up. I think he's more playing forward and more creative. And let's sign him up for a long contract. Third player is Sturge. I would beg the question now. He's probably our first choice left back. He looked okay defensively and obviously a great goal. And the last player I want to do is Ballo. I thought he put in a really great defensive display, which really helped Sturge. And he was running for 90 minutes, almost got an English trait to his style. Some minor negatives. I still don't have any confidence in Bender, and just wait for the next time he does a stuff up, because he will. And Negley, I think the jury's still out on him. I'm not quite sure. When he came out, he seemed lost again at a time with the style that we were playing. Anyway, 2 weeks rest, QPR. If we have the same team, we won't lose. Come on, you Lions.
Loving the Aussie positivity there, Dave. That's what you were dead right on Wednesday. You were the only positive voice on a very miserable night. And I think it was the sunny west coast of Australia positivity that helped things turn around, mate. So well done. Big thank you, Aussie Dave there. I mean, what can we say? Femi Aziz, what a player. He does show good attitude, as Dave has just said. And the goal that he scored, the way he took it on the chest and struck it first time, as he hit it, I was at the other end, obviously up there in the birdshit corner. And normally you'd see that kind of lift and go over the bar, but it just stayed on a trajectory into the goal, and the place exploded when that went in. It was a wonderful, wonderful moment. One of the highlights of recent times, seeing that goal go in, dear listeners. I'm not over-exaggerating. Same with Sturge's goal, John. Big thank you, Dave. Big thank you before him to Mike George and to Rob Woodford. And do check out Rob's and Mike's X feeds, but Rob is on Cabby Walks, at Cabby Walks. Those Isle of Dogs talks. Recommend them. I did one with them a few months ago, and they're well worth spending some time with them to walk around the Isle of Dogs and the old historic sites. So well done to the boys. We're going to move along now, dear listeners. We've got John Rankin and then Matt Richards, and I'll be back after the John and Matt.
Evening, Nick. Evening, listeners. John Rankin just calling in after that terrific 3-0 victory against West Brom at the Den earlier on today. I was going to do a voice note after the 4-0 drubbing by Coventry, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. It was such a depressing watch and such a contrast with today's game. Amazing. But interestingly, I mean, obviously everyone was a bit shell-shocked and hurt after the 4-0 defeat against Coventry, but we were up at Harry's Bar and they had the Coventry game on, and we were watching it in between having a sort of chat, and Coventry beat Sheffield Wednesday 5-0. And, the conversation turned to, well, Coventry are basically battering everyone. Do we get some solace from that? Not so sure, really. A 4-0 defeat at home is bad news, especially when it's Millwall. And what was more worrying was the poor atmosphere at the ground on Wednesday night. So to say we was all a bit apprehensive going into the West Brom game, who was sitting fourth in the table, would be an understatement at best, I think. Then the team sheet came out and there were 7 changes, and I liked them, to be honest with you. I like the changes. Ivanovic has been absent this season, and I was pleased Coburn came in. I was pleased that Alex Neil was persisting with just playing one striker up front, because I think the 2 up front that he tried at the beginning of the season left our midfield woefully weak. I was pleased that he had a 3-man midfield with Luongo, Billy and Smallbone making a 3-man midfield, and then your 2 wide players that he brought in, Aziz and Ballo, and obviously they were both a revelation really for me. I thought Ballo played very, very well indeed. So, looking at the back 4, I was kind of thinking, maybe we should have gone with a back 5 like we did at Palace, because I thought our defence was poor against Coventry. But I was pleased that he'd bought Zach Sturgeon, for Joe Bryan. I think Zach Sturge is a better player than Joe Bryan at the moment. And it leads the question as to when Alfie Doughty comes back, what happens there? But that's another question. That's for the manager to sort out. So on to the game. And, I thought, well, what's going to happen? If we go a goal down, it's going to turn nasty straight away. But luckily, we put some pressure on them. Jake Cooper got a sort of a short-range shot, and it found the back of the net early doors about 10 minutes in. And, we looked good. We played well. We moved the ball around. We defended well. West Brom looked good in parts coming forward. And I think we nullified them, really. They came down the flanks quite strongly. Jed Wallace tried to create a few bits and pieces, but he was nullified. And I think we were comfortable. We looked good, Come the second half, more of the same. I thought we're going to score again soon, and we need to score. And then the wonder goal from Femi Aziz. Oh, fantastic. And those are the moments you remember, as a Millwall supporter, especially in the Cold Blow Lane end. Billy Mitchell, a wonderful ball out of his own half, over the shoulder of Aziz. And I'll tell you what, as soon as he cut inside and took it on his left peg, we all know what a good shot he's got on. I thought he's going to have a go here. And I fancied him to score, and bang, and it went in the top bins. And it was like Ryan Longman's goal last season, Beautiful, beautiful goal. Football at its best. And then moving on towards Zach's goal, so pleased for him to score. And it was good. It was an interception that Zach Sturge made down the left. And then he passed it on to Ballo, and they linked up beautifully. And Zach went bombing on, and Ballo released the ball into the channel just at the right time, so Zach wasn't offside. And what I liked was he found himself coming in at an angle, and he just slowed down and composed himself. He had a defender coming across to try and slide into him, and he just took a couple of steps, just steadied himself down, so you can almost feel him breathe out, put his head down and put his laces through it, and he went into the top corner. Fuck you. Come on, you Lions. Let's be having some more of that. I'm one happy supporter. We're back on course. HMS pissed the league. Come on, you Lions.
Hi, Nick. Matt Richards calling in after that superb win, superb performance. 3-0 to the Lions. That's crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. Who would have predicted that? I think like many of us kind of shitting ourselves before the game, really. Nervous, not sure what to expect after what's happened recently, particularly on Wednesday, and thinking another defeat or something like that. What's going to happen before the international break? And we get that, it's what a really good performance. I don't know, just got this feeling. It was such an intense afternoon. It felt like an intense afternoon. Well, I was tense anyway, nervous. That first goal was really important, obviously. We knew we always struggle if we get a goal down. Femi Aziz, he can cross the ball, can't he? That's really important. He can also finish as well, which is very good as well. It's a very good performance all round. I think we were just so clinical today, weren't we? When we had chances, or half chances, we took them, or we tended to take them anyway. But I think that's the biggest difference to what we've seen before. I go through the team, but I just thought they're all immense, really. But Luongo in the middle of the park and Billy, incredible. They're the engine room of that performance. They just kept us ticking over or kept fighting. But they all played Ballo on the left, fighting for everything. Coburn, again, people that slag him off. Look at the work he puts in. Superb. Zach Sturge as well, he got man of the match. Could have had, it's one of those games when you could have had 5 or 6 men in the match, really. So pleased with him to get that goal. When the ball was played to him, I just shouted, hit it! And wow, he hit it. So brilliant. And it's nice that we can hold out for a clean sheet, in a blustery day. Weather conditions weren't the easiest. But yeah, just so pleased, relieved, and just what we need before the international break. Superb stuff. Come on, you Lions!
Fantastic, Matt. Yes, it is just what we needed to go into another one of these eternal international breaks. Suppose you've got to have them, dear listeners, but it is exactly what we needed, Matt. As I think John said earlier on, there would have been a lot of toxicity amongst the Den. There was on Wednesday night, justifiably, in my opinion. Very poor showing Wednesday night. But can you imagine how it would have been if we'd have lost on Saturday to another promising side in the division, and we'd have gone into the international break 2 weeks to fester on it. As it is, we've got 2 weeks to enjoy one of the results of the season so far. Performances that both John and Matt have mentioned. HMS Pistol League. I like that one, John. I've written that one down here. HMS Pistol League. Depression to ecstasy was my choice of contrast with Wednesday night. That's football for you, dear listeners. So there we are, dear listeners. I'm going to play the remainder of the show out now for the final 3 voice notes from David Leader-Kramer, from Archie Whittaker and Bobby T. I've actually done these I actually put these through a randomizer, listeners, if anyone's wondering how I do this. On this occasion, at least, I've got a random number generator to jumble up all the voice notes. So hopefully we get some fairness and everyone gets the fair turn to be, to be broadcast and listened to. So anyway, that's how I've done it. If any interest. There we are. International break looming. I shall be back. I might do a show over the international break. Might not. See how it goes. But we'll certainly be back for the QPR game, which is on the 18th of October. So stay tuned, and thank you for listening. And until then, from me, Nick Hart, at least, it's Arrivederci Millwall. So away we go now with David Leader-Kramer, Archie Whittaker, and to conclude, Bobby T today. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.
Hi, Nick. David Leader-Kramer here. Didn't see that one coming. I really thought that West Brom, given their form, would turn us over, particularly after the result on Wednesday night, which was very, very disappointing. I was a bit surprised that Alex Neil made 7 changes, because one of our problems this season has been consistency. But then again, having got thoroughly beaten on Wednesday, it was probably sensible to try and do something about it. It was also evident on Wednesday that the midfield was woefully lacking, and starting Billy Mitchell and Massimo Luongo, who I think is an excellent player and very underrated. I think he does a lot of the kind of the dirty work, the unseen work, puts a shift in and definitely allows Billy to go forward with more confidence. Coburn coming back, I thought, was also important. Yeah, he hasn't scored many goals. He's only scored the 1. but he's just a presence, and he just keeps the defenders continually occupied, and then they always know he's there. And I think having him do that gives us a lot of space elsewhere. I think it's a really, really important role. Aziz coming back was very important. Tremendous crossing, and of course the goal. Well, I'm sure others have gone on about it, so I don't need to go on about it too much. But I was fortunate enough to be just behind it, and it just a terrific strike. I haven't seen a strike like that probably since Ryan Longman's strike against Leicester. But I think this was a better goal actually, because he takes it and then shifts it to his left, and then really gives the keeper no chance with a beautiful shot. Sturge, I thought, had a great game throughout. I'm not sure he was my man of the match. I think Billy gets that accolade because I think Billy really worked hard and, of course, had the assist for the goal. But Sturge's finish was excellent, and he capped a really good all-round performance with that goal. I think he hardly put a foot wrong all afternoon, so hats off to him. As for Bender, well, he wasn't really tested, was he? I mean, I still am slightly surprised that he's retained his place. He doesn't look that confident, but he had very little to do. I don't remember him making a really serious save. So where does that leave us? Well, I think Alex Neil's always made the point that with the number of changes that he has to make game in, game out, it's always difficult to sort of have patterns of play that he thinks we should be following. And I think that after the international break, if we're fortunate enough to get Doughty back and Denor back, he will have Alex Neil will have a really difficult selection problem. I think this team does have real potential for really making a sustained challenge for the top six. I didn't think I'd hear myself say that after Wednesday night, but you've got to look at everything in perspective. And we have 4 wins, 2 draws, and 3 losses with a team that's been pretty injury hit. So there's every reason to be optimistic. We've got an absolutely cracking game against QPR to look forward to after the international break. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get a ticket for that. Although I'm a season ticket holder, don't have enough points. But I'm not unhappy because, well, I'm unhappy not getting a ticket, but I'm not upset about the club because tickets go to the people who travel up and down the country, and I don't do that. So good luck to them, and they deserve to be able to go to Loftus Road and hopefully see us bring home 3 points. But that's going to be a tough game as well. So very enjoyable Saturday afternoon. I think the crowd was quite quiet at times, but obviously after the third goal really got behind the team, which is probably a bit late in some ways, but it was understandable given the fact that we'd only scored 1 goal and no goal from open play at the Den up until Saturday. But anyway, I think everyone's having a much better weekend. I certainly am. And onwards and upwards. Come on, you Lions.
Hiya, Nick. Hope you're well, mate. God, I want that better than Wednesday. Wednesday was a strange one for me because I know they got a lot of stick, and rightly so in some areas, but I was one of those that sort of thought, we weren't that bad. Yes, we didn't make it. We didn't create enough chances. The ones that we did, we sort of scuffed. And I think it was just one of them freak nights where everything that they touched turned to gold, and we was on the wrong end of it. But yeah, they've got stick, rightly so. And today they needed to make a statement, really. And I think they did, didn't they? One thing I did notice is how much more of a presence Coburn is than Ivanovic. He gets so much stick, Coburn. But even in the second half, when he come off today, the ball just weren't sticking up there as much as it was in the first half and when he was on the pitch. Whereas against Coventry, when Mihailo's up there on his own, it just the ball just keeps coming straight back at us. So yeah, Coburn's definitely a good presence up there, which hopefully Ivanovic can sort of learn from. I think last year when we had them both up top, it sort of really seemed to work because Coburn was holding it up for Ivanovic, but for whatever reason, that didn't seem to work at the start of the year. But it might work again going forward, and I think it's good that we've got a manager that will change the system and adapt, I suppose. So yeah, it's nice to go into the international break off of a win, and to coming out thinking today that well, especially left back Sturge was brilliant. He was brilliant against Palace, and he was brilliant again today. And we've got obviously Brian, and it again gets his critics, but on his day he's a very, very good left back. We got him, we got Sturge, and we still got that Doughty to come back. I weren't sure whether we signed that Doughty to play left back or maybe to play more attacking as well. So I'm not sure. But either way, we're going to have lots of options when these players start coming back. Same as Casper. I mean, today Luongo and Mitchell were brilliant in there. Del Boy's not done much wrong, to be fair, but I think just having Luongo in there, he seems to just cut up the play so nice. And he's obviously got a lot more experience, and I think we lack that as well against Coventry. So yeah, all being well, we'll be mid-table, pushing up for them playoffs this year. But again, it's I think this year you've got to, of course, I want to get up to them playoffs and be in and around it all year and that. But I think if you look at our starting lineup now to what it was last year, we've had a lot of changes, and yeah, a lot of the changes are for the better. But I think it is going to take time, and obviously off back of results, getting beat 4-0 at home, you're not going to be very positive. I wasn't, but now we followed it up with that. It's back to normal. But you know, we never. I said today, if we'd have gone 1-0 down, it would have been toxic. At Millwall, you're always one game away from a crisis, aren't you? But yeah, all in all, great performance. I mean, you could have given that man in a match today to anyone. Yeah, so well done to them. And then hopefully after this international break, we get some players back, and I think we've got a good outfit, really good outfit. So come on, you Lions. Enjoy the break, mate. Take care. Come on, you Lions.
Bobby T from Hours Live on the rooftops. Now there's that fucking reaction we wanted. The boys are back. Millwall 3. Baggies 0. I'm fucking happy. I am so happy. Don't change the team, or don't change the winning side. But anyway, I wasn't there today, but all I will say is, let's not get carried away. As Nick Hart said on the old Godfather, on the old Lions Passion of the podcast, let's take things easy, patient, bit by bit. Gradually ease the team in by Christmas time, Millwall. Bye for now, Bobby T. Fuck 'em all. No one likes us, so we don't care. Man. Nick Hart, Bobby T. Finishing my shift. Now, you know what really fucking gets me Jacqueline-eyed Millwall up and down? Either Wednesday night, Coventry were that good, or we made them look like pre-Barcelona, and they just finished their chances. Yeah, today they won 5-0, but is that the real Millwall you're talking about? Like, wake up, smell the coffee, passion, wear the shirt, bit of bite and bollocks. I wasn't there today. You told me, Nick Hart, and the old Achtung Millwall. What a result, mate. Now, can we continue this? QPR won today, and they annoy me. Bye for now, Bobby T.
Achtung, Millwall.
Who do you want to watch?
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.